Sup guys, once again to give you a little bit of context on this one. Basically this was back when, this was a couple of months ago. I didn't even know I had this recording. I forgot I had this recording. Basically this is back when the Tokyo Expressway was in the daily races, and it was basically essentially a McLaren F1 one make. But I found that the Viper was quite good as well, so this is me winning the McLaren F1 Invitational in a Dodge Viper. So yeah. So I'm going to channel my inner Steve Super GT on this race and give you a bit of a running commentary, because in this race I didn't actually have my microphone active until the very end because Mr. Concentration mode. So yeah, so we're starting 9th place. This race happened before I set my really fast light qualifying time, which ended up being top 250 in the world, which was actually insane for me. This was back actually when I didn't actually have my wheel. This was actually back when I was still using a controller. As we're coming into the first braking zone, that white McLaren on the inside decides he doesn't want that guy on his outside anymore and just proceeds to shove him away and not actually receive a penalty for it. I get body slammed on the side by that guy, who then proceeds to continue to be a jerk and try to grind me into the wall. But he has now chosen to challenge me into the next corner. We're going in too wide, but I'm confident in where I'm going to brake, so if he brakes at the same time where he should do, I'm going to claim the corner off him. But he overshoots and glides straight into the wall. That position is now mine. Now with the right left-hander coming up, I actually found you could carry a lot more speed into the corner than you think you'd actually need to brake. You can just sort of lift and use the bumps in the track to sort of angle your car around. But the people in front of me didn't actually get that memo, and they decided to brake and have a little bit of an accident. So I ended up giving him a nice little tap on the rear there to give him a little bit of a boost, because you know, you want to help out your fellow competitors. And as you see, the guy in front got a 3-second penalty. He probably received that penalty probably for breathing too heavily, maybe. That's usually the kind of things you get penalties in GT Sport for. As our Portuguese friend bids us farewell, we now go into the double left-hander, which is usually a lots of fun. As you can see by someone just lunging one straight down the inside. And then the guy behind him says he also wants a piece of that action and shoves his way through as well. As we wake our way onto the main straight. A main straight which is so long, you could probably hold a tennis tournament in the time it takes you to get to the hairpin. And we finished the first lap now. It's a pretty decent first lap for me. Managed to gain one position. I don't know where it happened, but it did happen, as we are challenged by not one but two McLarens at the same time going into this hairpin. What could possibly go wrong? The McLaren F1s descend on the hairpin like a swarm of hornets and then proceed to have a little kerfuffle between themselves. I do a massive drift around the corner. As we are in Tokyo, I thought I'd channel my inner DK. I now use my professional racing driver strats to hit the invisible wall, which then allows the Danish guy behind me to give me a little bit of a boost of extra speed. At this point, I've recognized that I'm a lot stronger than everyone else in the race in this particular section, so this is where I'm going to have to make my moves as someone decides to spin out on a straight. Now, as we all know, in professional racing, you do need a little bit of luck from time to time, so here's me getting unbelievably lucky, riding my luck like an absolute champion from 7th to 3rd in the space of one corner. I have now recognized that the two people in front of me also have 3-second penalties, so I'm net first right now, which is, as a middle sector goes, it's quite a good one, I would say. And I watch now as I inherit first place. Something I never thought was going to happen at the start of this race, let me tell you. Now I know that the McLaren has a higher top speed than the Viper, so I know the McLarens are going to hunt me down the start-finish straight. I just need to make sure that I'm confident under brakes when we get to that hairpin in about 4.5 to maybe 5 years, that I make the corner and not just have a glorious accident headbutting the wall at about 150,000 miles an hour. Coming into this hairpin for the third time now, I know where I'm supposed to brake, but unfortunately the McLaren in my rearview mirror doesn't know where to brake and decides to go on an adventure. Now after this, nothing really interesting happened for the rest of the lap, so I'm just going to skip to the final lap and show you guys my fastest lap of the race and the final lap of the race in its entirety. I did take the fastest lap on the previous lap, but it only lasted about 4.2 seconds until that Italian guy decided to take it off me. What a mean guy. I did manage to extend my lead to about 2.2 seconds coming out of the final corner on the previous lap, but obviously the McLarens are faster than me, so they did hunt me down a bit coming down the main straight. But I do have some breathing room going into this final lap, which is quite good. It's helps me relax a bit so I can concentrate more on nailing the corners rather than having to fight the swarm of locusts that is behind me. Now coming up is that right left-hander, which I did mention on the first lap. You can take flat, which I proceed to do this lap in the process of setting my fastest lap of the race. As you can see there, you can take that first corner flat. You lift off a little bit going into this corner just to get the back end to sort of kick you in. You have to get the angle into this corner right, because the way it banks in, it can really slingshot you out the other end, as it does for me there. So I've now got through the difficult bit. That was what I felt was the most difficult bit of the lap. Now there's now 2 corners left to go pretty much. And I'm pretty sure I'm out of range from a typical GT Sport level lunge. So all I have to do is get through these final 2 corners and give myself a really good exit. Which I do give myself. And that's home and dry pretty much, because they're not going to catch me before the line. So there we are. At this moment now, I'm probably fist bumping right now. I'm probably high-fiving the nearest human, that sort of thing. But unfortunately, I was in my room alone at that point, so unfortunately, I couldn't high-five any nearest humans. So I don't think I even high-fived myself, because that would have been tragic. But we do cross the line there, going sub 2 minutes comfortably with the fastest lap of the race. Who needs a McLaren F1 to do this race? To be honest, let's be fair, that was incredibly lucky, but I did pull away at the end. I've won the McLaren F1 one make series of the Viper. Let's go. Who needs a McLaren? Let's go. And did I get fastest lap as well? Hey, let's go. Fastest lap as well. Who needs a McLaren?